Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle towards my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from the heat oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way that thou was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, whereas with all the rest I see thee still, and on thy blade and dudgeon gouts of blood, which was not so before. There is no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now o'er the one half-world, nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse. The curtain sleep, witchcraft celebrates, the pale Hecate's offerings, and wither'd murder, alarmed by sentinel, the wolf, who howls his watch with a stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides towards the design, moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk for fear. Thy very stones prate of my whereabout, and take the present horror from the time, which now suits with it. While I threat, he lives. Words to the heated deeds too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
Hello! Well, now it's time to do the Substone. Yay! For the passage that I just read. So yeah, let's get right into it. So, the speaker is Lord Macbeth, Thane of Glamis and Cawdor, as he begins to, think about murdering King Duncan. You can tell that it's, I guess, Macbeth. I mean, mainly just because of the context, really. You can't really tell it from the passage itself. There's no clear distinction that it is Macbeth himself that's speaking. But obviously, if you're reading the play bit by bit or watching it, you'll know that it's Macbeth. So, I mean, if you throw away Macbeth completely, you can just say that the speaker, I guess, is just a person who is planning to kill a Duncan, King Duncan, in fact. So, yeah. Okay, so the occasion, as I said, or I guess I could connect to the speaker, is this speaker, this person, this Lord Macbeth, who desires to kill King Duncan, as he thinks about it. So, for some context of it, like I guess expand the occasion a bit. So right after Act 1, Macbeth invites King Duncan and all of his thanes and generals and stuff to his castle to have a feast. To celebrate their victories against the invaders and stuff and such. So once he invites them after the feast, they all go to bed and stuff. They all leave and whatnot. But Macbeth, however, he walks around his castle and thinks about murder, and that's what this occasion is. And as he thinks about murder, he starts to kind of descend into madness, and has hallucinations, which is what this soliloquy is all about. So. Now, audience, there's no real clear audience, besides like obviously the readers / watchers. Also Macbeth's own head, like he's quite literally debating with himself. But yeah, besides those three, audience doesn't really exist in this case. I mean, it is a soliloquy after all. Okay, so the purpose is used to demonstrate Macbeth's mental contemplation between what to do. It's I guess, yeah, it's to show his inner thoughts essentially, whether he should assassinate King Duncan or not. Um, like, oops, okay, and yeah, basically planning on what he should do. And the dagger is representative of this, because it's a hallucination, and that's why he's like the handle towards my hand. He's debating with himself. It's like the dagger is inviting him, and that showcases his inner thoughts, because the dagger is, after all, really just a hallucination. And even Macbeth himself realizes this by saying, perhaps this is like a hallucination from his feverish mind. And right here, he literally says, I don't know, right here, there is no such thing. It is a bloody business which informs. He realizes that there is no dagger here. It is his own mind, and that actually speaks towards the meaning of the passage, the purpose. It's to inform both Macbeth himself and even the reader watcher that he is planning on murder, or he's thinking about murder, and eventually does indeed decide to do murder, which is what happens down here. And ultimately, a secondary purpose for this is a contribution to the one of the main themes of Macbeth, and that is how ambition can easily corrupt and cause people to commit evil deeds. As such here, after hearing about the three witches and their prophecy, Macbeth decides maybe he should actually go out and commit an act to actually achieve his title that the three witches said that he will achieve it someday. So his ambition to become king has led him here to contemplate murder and eventually actually act on it. And it's not the first time we see this kind of ambition effort. I mean, I guess it's not the first time we see it in the play. I'm actually, I guess it is, but there's multiple occasions. That's what I really mean. This is not the only occasion where it's happened. That's what I meant to say. Anyways, now the subject, as it's kind of a bit redundant now, but it's Macbeth's contemplation about killing King Duncan, to himself specifically. And this is detailed by this vision of the dagger, as I said. Again, we can go back to those lines. A dagger of the mind, handle towards my hand. Thou marshallest me the way that I was going. He's the dagger is essentially inspiring him, / inviting him, to do the exact act that he was thinking about. And this dagger itself, again, is a representation of his mind. So it's like his mind is telling him to do this act, and he's realizing this right here. And yeah, again, we can go back to this line. That's what this line is. And yeah. So the tone varies between different parts of the soliloquy. So in the beginning, for example, you could say it's confused, insane, stressed, feverish. He's unsure of himself, and he's confused because he's like, what is this dagger that I see? Again, look at it. Is this a dagger for the handle towards my hand? I see the feeling sign. Blah blah blah. He's confused. Like, why is there this dagger here? He feels like he's going a bit insane. He's stressed by his his own mental debates between killing King Duncan or not, and he's feeling feverish, and undecisive again here. He can't think correctly. However, as the passage continues, and he starts to think about it some more, he realizes he could actually do this. He could actually murder King Duncan, and it might actually be a good thing for him. That's why, as the passage continues, the tone shifts from these four to eventually a more calm and confident tone, which is what happens down here. I go and it is done. Blah blah blah. Oops, what happened here? Okay. He realizes that he knows what he wants to do now. He wants to kill King Duncan, and that's why he's no longer confused, stressed, feverish. But you could say he's still insane. But yeah, he's no longer one of those. So there's a shift, So now devices. There's four main ones that I've noticed, and one of them quite obviously imagery, because a lot of these soliloquies always have lots of imagery. So you can talk about the dagger that appears, the blood. Oh, and also I want to mention about the blood that appears on the dagger. So the interesting thing about the blood on the dagger is that you could say it's representative. Again, you could say it's even more representative of his thought, because originally there was no blood. It was just a clean blade. But the blood suddenly appeared, and he notices this. And I think that's almost like his indecisiveness. He's unsure about murder, but as he continues to think about it, he thinks about it even more, and he starts to slowly begins to decide that maybe murder is the ideal situation. So that's why the blood appears on the dagger. It's his own thought telling him to murder, and that's representative of blood on a dagger. So, and the imagery also continues when he talks about nature, wicked dreams, abuse. stuff like that. But essentially the darkness of the night, which is also like a motif in the Macbeth as well. The darkness um, when evil things happen, and Macbeth also mentions the sounds of his footsteps. He doesn't want them to be loud because they'll wake the people around him. They'll wake up the quiet and dark night. He doesn't want that to happen because he's going to murder King Duncan. Okay, so now there's rhetorical questions. There's some over here, like the handle towards my hand, to feeling as to sight. Again, heat oppressive brain. Um, he asks these questions because he's unsure of himself. Again, he doesn't know what he's seeing. Yeah, pretty much. He's just confused. So he has to ask himself these questions that, I mean, to the reader the answers are obvious, but perhaps not so much to Macbeth. So the last two are pretty similar. Simile and metaphor. Simile, for example, here moves like a ghost. In this case, he's talking about his footsteps again. He's like he wants to move like a ghost in the night. And like metaphor for example is down. You can see one down here too. It is a knell. He's talking about the bell. The bell is a metaphor for, I guess the death of King Duncan. That's why he says it's a sound that summons him to heaven or to hell. Yeah, it's a metaphor for death essentially. So yeah, besides all that, I think that's it. So yeah, thanks for watching. So yeah, bye.